All right, so the New York Knicks just took a major step forward towards title contention. They just participated in a huge NBA draft eve trade by sending over a large amount of draft picks over to the Nets in exchange for one of the top trade targets this offseason in Mikal Bridges. And obviously, this reunites a championship winning Villanova team. That's Jalen Brunson, that's Bridges, that's Donte Divincenzo, and that is also Josh Hart. I don't know the last time we saw something like this where the core of a college championship team gets back together to play on the same team in the NBA. I don't know if we've ever seen that. Maybe like the Rockets when they won it, I think back in 95, Hakeem and Clyde Drexler were both on the same team, but this is four guys, right? So it's really unique. What'll be even doper is if they win a championship next year. And that's not outside of the realm of possibility, given how wide open the league is right now and just how good that Knicks roster looks, especially with some of the other moves that are kind of pending at this point in time. So for Brooklyn, this puts them kind of in this rebuild path they were already in. They move away from Bridges, who's 27, who I don't know if he really fit their timeline, and he's kind of at a point to where he wants to maximize his championship window. So you move him away, get him into a better situation, and you get a lot of draft capital back to continue to stay on this strong rebuilding path. And we'll see what else they do in this offseason. Obviously, Nick Claxton is a free agent, so we'll see what ends up happening from there. But good move for the Nets to continue to stay on this rebuilding path. For the Knicks, think about this roster right now. And like I said, that's kind of pending a couple of things. I'm going to exclude OG Anunoby. I don't think he's going to stay. I don't think they're going to be able to break the bank to bring back him and Isaiah Hartenstein. But let's think about this roster and how it looks right now, right? Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, Bridges, Donte DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, Deuce McBride, and possibly Isaiah Hartenstein. That's your main rotation. That is a really, really, really good team. Most importantly, that gives Jalen Brunson another guy to kind of go to on the offensive end. Mikal Bridges in Brooklyn showed off the ability to be a solid shot creator. When he was in Phoenix, he was kind of relegated to more of a catch and shoot role. He can knock down shots off the dribble. He can create for himself, right? He's added that dimension to his game that makes him the perfect partner to JB. On top of that, you don't have to worry about him meshing with JB because they already are close friends. They've already won a championship together. They already have a relationship with each other. The chemistry, how in sync that team is going to be when those four guys are on the floor, it's going to be insane. And what's even more dangerous is the Knicks have an identity. So you have a core of four guys who won a championship together in college on the same team, where they also have a strong identity and strong culture with that defense first type of grind city approach that Tom Thibodeau has taken here with the Knicks. That is the recipe for an NBA championship. Like I said, the league is super wide open right now. Even with the Celtics winning it, the window is still open right now in the East. That is the ultimate recipe to win a title. That Knicks team looks absolutely scary, right? And to complete the puzzle, they're going to need to bring Hartenstein back because he was just of so much value with his finishing in the paint, his defense, and things like that. We'll also see what ends up happening with Mitchell Robinson if he stays here on the roster. But if things stay the way they are now, like if the Knicks just stayed right here with this roster and probably lose OG Anunoby, this is still a really, really good team. Absolutely. All they're going to need is for Julius Randle to buy in defensively and probably accept a little bit of a lesser role, right? I think it'll make more sense for Bridges to have a higher volume of shots than Julius Randle because of how efficient he generally is. I think he could play within the flow of the Knicks offense a lot better. And that's nothing against Julius Randle at all, but I just kind of noticed Randle can be a ball stopper at times. So maybe trying to find another role for him within that offense would work a ton. But either way, that's going to be a much more dangerous Knicks offensive team by bringing in another really good 3-and-D player who can do a little bit more than just be a 3-and-D guy who can also create to go alongside with JB. And also, they already have a ridiculously strong team culture. It's going to be something very fun to watch. This Knicks team in the playoffs is going to be fun to watch. There's just something about the chemistry between those four guys that's going to put them over the top over a bunch of other teams right now in the NBA, right? We're looking at things right now and we're seeing some teams taking this approach to where they're trying to bring in every all-star they can to just pair those guys along and try to win a championship just based off of talent. What we're learning is that team chemistry built up over the years is more important. The Celtics, they have that dynamic between Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Those guys grew together over the years, and here they are now as NBA champions. Think about the Denver Nuggets. That core of Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, they've been there together for a pretty lengthy amount of time. The Warriors back in 2022, we obviously know that Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson spent an extensive amount of time playing with each other, or even the Milwaukee Bucks back in 2020, right? Or 21, excuse me. That's Giannis and Chris Middleton. Those guys spent an extensive amount of time playing with one another. So having chemistry within your core built up over the years is really important. And it's a trend that we've seen for most NBA champions over like the last 5 seasons. The only exception to that rule would probably be like the 2020 Lakers. And I'd even also say the 2019 Raptors. They brought in Kawhi Leonard. Kyle Lowry was like one of the only continuities on that roster. There are a bunch of other guys kind of sprinkled in there. But for the most part, especially like the last 3 titles, that's what we've seen. This team is going to be scary. Their biggest thing is just going to be health. That's it. That's the only team stopping them. But this is one of those things where there aren't any questions, right? There aren't any questions about the fit. There aren't any questions about how in sync they're going to be, who's going to buy in, who's not going to buy in. This just makes total sense. This is a really ideal situation for the Knicks to have these 4 guys playing together. It is not just a thing where they play together in college and they're okay in the NBA. No, these guys are amazing. Divincenzo is one of the best catch and shoot shooters in the league. Josh Hart is the best rebounding guard in the NBA, one of the best we've seen in a while. Jalen Brunson is one of the greatest point guards in the league right now. Julius Randle is still an all-star. And like I said, Bridges is on the borderline of being an all-star player. This is an amazing situation for the Knicks, for the team culture, and all of those things. I can't wait to see how this thing ends up turning out, but I just don't see the downside in this. I don't see this thing not working, right? I just don't have a lot of questions. It's not like the Damian Lillard trade where I had a couple of questions about, how things would work between certain guys. It's not like the Phoenix trade where they brought in Bradley Beal, where I was wondering how Brad Beal was going to stay efficient and in rhythm playing alongside with 2 other scoring-minded players in KD and Devin Booker. This just makes total sense. They're still going to be deep. Yes, like I said, they lost a good amount of draft compensation and draft capital, but this is still a deep team that's going to do a lot of damage in the Eastern Conference if healthy. It's got to work. They've got to optimize this window they have, but I'm very eager to see how this thing ends up working out here for the Knicks come next season.